Their
Oh,
topics
well
of
thought.
discussion. What?
No, no, I'm sorry. I thought there was a little more space between sentences. I could insert something witty, but please go ahead.
No, you can. I don't
I
even.
thought you were going to take a breath.
Go-
Why don't you start over since I interrupted you? Why don't
No.
you start
Why?
over?
Well,
Sorry,
insert.
sorry, Guchua.
What is it that you're gonna insert? Well, tell you what. I'm gonna leave space, and you can surprise me. Okay.
Okay.
When
all
was
right,
when's the
hope it's
last
funny,
time you
man.
heard that?
I know, yeah.
Hey everyone, it's Elliot.
And Todd, welcome to Two Designers Walk Into a Bar, an ongoing conversation about pop culture and iconic design. Today, we're digging back into the mailbag to hear from you, our great listeners.
We love your reviews and comments, so keep them coming.
So sit back with your favorite cozy, warm beverage.
Like a hot toddy.
Only if I hit the gym, man.
And join us back here in the bar. So, Todd, I know we're getting into the holiday season. I see you've dragged a big sack of something here into the bar. I see the trail on the floor where the
Yes.
dust has been cleared away. The dust, the peanut shells, everything has been pushed to the side. So what do you have for us?
Elliot, I have a sack full of our fan letter ready to share with everybody.
Fan letter, like one.
Yeah,
It's
I was hoping you would
I
catch
mailed
that.
mailed a postcard, tied it to the cinder block.
Yeah. Yeah, we got our mailbag. So, couple things. We love listening to our listeners. And, sometimes they like to hear about things that we're doing and watching and reading. So, we'll get into that a little bit today if that's okay with you.
It's fine with me. I more importantly, is it okay with our listeners, I guess?
Well, I hope so. I hope they continue.
I hope so,
they
too.
continue to listen.
Well, this is like when the DJ, it's like there's morning trivia, or you might win concert tickets or something like that. Or maybe it's like an NPR sponsorship and you're just eager to hear your name on the air.
Okay, well, we can definitely do that. Are you going to give out concert tickets or anything, though? I guess we should tell our listeners so they can continue listening for that if you are.
Yeah. Well, I don't, it all depends
Sounds like
on
a
what the
no.
local scalper has available for a
Sounds
reasonable
like a no.
amount of money. Yeah.
All right. Well, here's some recent comments. And if they're from you, thank you. And if they're not from you, you need to send us one. So the first one is from Zoe of the Jungle. And Zoe of the Jungle writes, "The episode with Joe Watson and Toby Braswell was a different kind of episode. I thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. What made you interview music guys on a design podcast? And can we expect more?" That's a really good question.
That is. Do you have a really
What do
good
you say,
answer?
Elliot? Well, God, we did have a lot of fun talking with Joe and Toby.
Yeah, we did. There are a couple of characters.
They are. And there's a natural relationship there between visual design, which you and I are really familiar with, and music. They're both based in pop culture, and we dug into that a lot.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about record albums repeatedly, even outside of our episode with Joe and Toby. I mean, we talked about, of course, jazz albums during our Beat series. We've talked about Andy Warhol and some of the different albums he designed during our pop art series.
Yeah.
We've talked about, I mean, music is so interwoven, I think, both into design. I mean, certainly some of the most iconic pieces of design. I think about the famous Milton Glaser Bob Dylan poster.
Oh, yeah,
Right?
yeah.
I mean, that's totally music-based for obvious reasons. But I think it's really difficult to separate the two. So it's a natural It's just it's like beer nuts, Todd. If you have beer, you got to have beer nuts.
Well, I can buy that. And if you haven't listened to that episode yet, it's called Riffs on Riffs Crossover. We get into a couple album cover pieces that you may be familiar with, like Rush, Moving Pictures, Monster by REM. And we make fun of Elliot and his pristine CD collection.
You guys are just hating on the fact I know how to keep things nice.
Well, and if you remember, I was getting my share of hate too, based on my runner-up album cover pick, which we ended up talking too much about. But yeah, you should check it out, and you should check out our network mates, Joe and Toby's podcast, Riffs on Riffs.
Absolutely, we could put a link to that in the show notes.
I don't know. Are they putting a link to ours in their show notes? Let's hold that over their head and see.
Yeah, well, I think we're maybe a payment or two behind to them, so I don't think we can expect, any sort of favors from them moving forward until we pony up.
We get current.
Yeah, with their accounts.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Well, I still would recommend them, even if they're not recommending us.
I think they would readily recommend us. Okay.
All right.
Hold on. You wait. What? You have. I'm get out of the way. I'm digging my arm into the mailbag.
Okay.
Here.
Okay. All right. You got one.
This just feels like your laundry. I don't. Oh wait. Here's something.
Yeah,
okay. All right.
Got news.
All right. Yeah. Something in the middle of all these tube socks. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. This is from Andrew C. So Andrew C. says, "Hi, Todd and Elliot," and so I think we should just say, "Hi, Andrew C."
Hi, Andrew C. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for saying hi.
No, there's more. It's more than just that. Yeah. Love the pod.
Thank you.
We're still waiting on Design Crimes. What gives?
Yeah, right. Design Crimes podcast.
Yeah. Well. I mean, Andrew, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but if you listen to our podcast regularly, it's a lot of bad news. That was an April Fool's joke. We just did that as a riff on Comic Sans because as card-carrying designers, we're not allowed to like Comic Sans. And also we wanted to spoof true crime podcasts because that's all anyone seems to want to talk about. Of course, when they're not talking about design and pop culture podcasts. I mean, let's just put that out there right now.
Yeah. Although, I think you got to admit, we could really produce a good true crime design podcast, couldn't we?
We've talked about design scandals in several of our episodes. Todd, you love design scandals.
Lots of those.
Yeah, so we could maybe do a design scandals podcast.
Yeah. But anyway, thank you, Andrew C., for asking about that. And something tells me Andrew knew that was an April Fool's joke and was just rattling our chains.
Man.
Okay. All right.
I guess it all goes full circle. Thanks, Andrew C.
Yeah. Good. All right. Do you want to read the next one too, or do you want me to read one?
This one's from a satisfied customer, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
all right.
yeah.
Do
So
tell.
I will gladly read this one.
Okay.
You're more the complaints department. I'm compliments, and you'll be complaints. How
and
about
I'll be
that?
complaints.
Yeah.
It sounds familiar.
Well, I have a lot of complaints, Todd. But enough about me. Let's talk about Emma Smith. So Emma was very kind enough. She actually is a design student at Susquehanna University in beautiful Sylvan, Pennsylvania. And she actually bought some of our merch, so thank you for doing that. Because we gave a talk at Susquehanna about packaging and package design because a friend of ours who is a professor there, a friend of ours named Jimmy was putting together a packaging class or a packaging lesson. I don't know if it's a full class. And so we wanted to contextualize that. So we were able to talk about bottles and record albums and all sorts of different stories related to packaging. So Given that context, Emma says, "Thank you for coming to Susquehanna. Loved hearing discussions about design and the Q&A." Yeah, these students asked some great questions.
And I think you would agree that we really excelled at the Q&A part.
Oh, yeah, I had a bunch of questions for them.
I mean, I think we really aid. We aid
yeah.
Yeah, we did. We aid the
Yeah.
So
they were
great
very
questions.
engaged.
They were
Yeah. They were definitely attentive. They weren't asleep at the wheel. We got some follow-on feedback that it really the talk really inspired them. So thank you guys. And for any other college faculty who may be listening, reach out to us. We'd love to talk to you and your class as well.
Yeah, and sell you some merch.
Oh, especially that.
Yeah, but we'll talk to you without you buying our merch, of course.
But we'll talk to you faster if, you pre-buy some merch.
Yeah. All right, I got one here.
Okay.
This is from Katie, Kati, so Katie with one eye. And I'm sorry about the other eye, Katie.
Yeah, you can always pick her out in a crowd. She's wearing a patch. I don't know what the hook hand has to do with her name, though.
Oh, yeah. So Katie says, love, I'm adding my own emphasis here, love the music video episodes. Had no idea Todd was such a Swiftie. Why didn't he talk about some of Tay-Tay's other more popular videos like Antihero or Shake It Off, which has over 3.3 billion views? Wow. Okay, Katie with one eye. Well, let me first say, I'm really not a Swiftie. I just happened to watch the documentary, and I know Elliot's going to call bullshit on this real fast because...
Yeah, because people not interested in Taylor Swift are always watching her documentaries.
Well, look, Elliot, I'm trying to reach out to the kids. I'm trying to spread our audience and get more kids to listen to our podcast. So,
okay.
I think it's for the children. But you got to admit, as I made you admit during that episode where I talked about Taylor Swift's video, Me, that she's quite successful. She did quite a lot of cool things, and she's got some cool ideas in her videos anyway. But yeah, I'm sorry, Katie with one eye. I'm not too much of a Swiftie, but I do respect what Tay-Tay is doing.
No, I think actually you've sold me, Todd.
Yeah.
Because that video is pretty incredible, actually. And all of the Easter eggs that you talked about, in addition to...
Yeah.
That's what was really cool, that the visual effects weren't simply for the sake of the visual effects, but that there was other subtle messaging in there that was really all of these little prizes or gold coins or whatever word you want to use for her super fans. So it was really giving something back, dropping hints about an upcoming album. And when you were talking about all of the reverse engineering that was done because that video came out, what did you say, like 4 months or something?
Yeah, I think it was like 13 weeks or like 14, 15 weeks because that was some of the speculation from the title.
Oh,
Upside
that's
Down
right.
Me was 13W.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to admit, she knows how to engage with her audience.
Oh, yeah.
So.
I think one thing that you got to admit we love, and I think this is sort of the foundation of the music video episodes, and really when we talk about pop culture a lot or talk about music a lot, is that you're sort of given the assignment and then you go well beyond it and sort of create this more broad art project, which is, if you're creative, you're creative. Why limit yourself to one medium, right?
Right. Thank you for recognizing my contribution there. I have what I have for you is a friendship bracelet that you can wear. And I bet you have one for me too.
Yeah, I left mine at home.
All right. But we can't let those episodes get by without saying, if you're not a Taylor Swift fan, but you do love music videos, we certainly talk about the ones that are on Mount Rushmore of music videos.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, absolutely. But you know what? I think we don't say what those are.
Okay.
I think we make folks go do a little bit of homework and go look for those. But we guarantee you'll know one, if not more of them, we would be shocked if you.
Oh, yeah.
We'll leave it at that.
But I'm going to also put another guarantee out there. I guarantee, dear listener, you'll learn something new about them that you didn't know.
Oh, yeah. Things about Vaseline, raw chickens.
Okay, stop. Okay, you need to stop now.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was in my own headspace for a second.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. So that's just what we do. It's basically a public service that we offer here.
Hey, speaking of things that are shocking,
yes,
we actually recently got some good reviews.
Well, I mean, we get yes. Okay, good. Let's read some of those. Although we do get generally good reviews because we do pay well for them.
Shh. Now all of a sudden everybody's going to want, we'll have to double our review budget.
All right, why don't you read the first review? And then I didn't only pick the good ones that I'm going to read here. I mean, I just grabbed the random ones. I'm sure you did too.
Okay, so here's one. Scrolling through our Apple podcast page here. Okay, this is from Hello, this is Tim.
Hello, Tim.
No, I think his full name is This is Tim. You're not on a first name basis.
Oh, Mr. Tim. Hello, this is Tim.
Yeah. Hi, Tim.
I feel like I know him now.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so
all right.
Whether you use his full name, his handle, his colloquial name, I'm going to call him T-Bone. How about that?
Okay, do that. I think he would like that.
Oh, he'd love that. Unless he's a vegetarian.
Hello, this is T-Bone.
Yeah, okay, hey, T-Bone. Okay, anyway, sorry.
Right, go ahead.
He's going to have to go back and update this now because we've given him a better name. Glad to hear y'all recognize the link between music and design. I have yet to be in a studio where the playlist wasn't as curated as the book.
Same here. And by the way, hello, this is Tim. Thank you for the proper use of the word y'all.
Yeah, he did use that properly.
He did. That's great to hear. That's really nice of you. This is Tim, or this is T-Bone. And you're right.
Could we go so far as to say our podcast is music to his ears?
You could, but okay. I'll say Tim makes a great point. Like, I've been turned on to a lot of really great new acts, new music, new bands from listening to my other fellow creatives, their playlist. And it's always great to hear that new stuff.
Oh, yeah. And there are a lot of designers who are also musicians, or musicians really, who were, maybe began as designers and became very popular musicians. So it is truly a hand-in-glove relationship, without a doubt.
Yeah, good. All right, I have one.
Hit me.
This is from Apple Podcast, from Jim Toole.
Okay.
And Jim says, love these guys. Where else can you have a serious conversation about Mad Magazine and MacGuffins?
McDonald's, right?
Yeah. Well, I got to say, you're right, Jim. I mean, not too many places you can really enjoy a conversation about Mad Magazine and MacGuffins.
Egg MacGuffins.
Or Vaseline and dancing chickens, or any other thing that comes up.
Yeah, the two things that you think don't go together, and then magically they do.
Yeah, so Jim is talking about, Elliot, our episode of designed objects as part of a movie plot for the MacGuffins thing. And, of course, every other episode we talk about Mad Magazine, which could be any episode.
Right. Mentioning Mad or Airplane doesn't really narrow things down.
Right.
So thanks for the MacGuffin reference.
Yeah.
For anyone who doesn't know what a MacGuffin is, you will once you listen to our episode. And no, it's not just a delicious breakfast sandwich.
Or a fake beard for your lady parts.
That's a totally different movie prop. But it does begin with M.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Jim Toole.
All right. Hold on. I'm reaching back into the mailbag again.
Deep in the mailbag.
Yeah, the mailbag / laundry bag.
This is where we put a sound effect or something.
Yeah, like one of those. What are those? The slide whistle, like. We'll drop that in there.
Yeah, well, now we don't have to.
That's the sound. See, first it's my hand going in the bag, and then it's retrieving a postcard coming out. Okay.
Oh.
So this is from Gooch UA or Goochua, Goochua. So I'll say Goochua.
Yeah.
I
Sound
haven't
it out,
been to
Elliot.
that
Sound it
country, but I think it might be some small Caribbean island that people only visit because it's privately owned. Okay, so from the country of Goochua. Love listening. Each episode is great, from the banter between the hosts to the ambiance and, of course, the topics. Their topics of discussion so often are on content that I have familiarity with, but would never have guessed have such rich history. I'm not going to say I, quote-unquote, need all the knowledge they share, but I am sure entertained as I gain it. Now,
well, that's wonderful.
Need is such a strong word. I mean, is it shelter? Is it peace of mind?
Yeah. Is it food?
Yeah. I mean, is it,
self-preservation?
Japanese robo-toilet? Like all the things at the base level of Maslow's hierarchy of needs? I mean, no. Are we one level above that in tier 2? I would argue yes. I mean, once you have the basics, which apparently include a listening device and earbuds so you don't disturb your neighbors, then yes, we're right there. So,
and I love what Guchua said. I sure hope we're pronouncing that correctly, and I apologize if we're not, because they really nailed kind of what you and I set out to do, which is you have some familiarity with some things, but never guess they have such rich history.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, there's always what you know, and then there's always so much more in terms of what you don't know. As we like to say, it's continuing to peel back the layers of the onion. And hey, speaking of the onion, can I do a quick product plug here? Because
yeah.
I recently subscribed to the Onion, and I got my first printed issue in the mail. The Onion is not paying us, but I just feel we all need to support the Onion because I love the Onion.
Yeah, and I don't want to leave the Onion with the impression that they couldn't pay us. They certainly could.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, or even just give us a free subscription. That'd be like paying me $99.
Pay us in onions, yeah.
No, I mean...
No?
I don't want a giant bag of onions.
Oh, okay. All right.
I mean, don't give people any ideas. I don't want this mailbag the next time we drag it in, it's filled with onions. I mean, newspapers, yes, but like the vegetable?
Actual real onions,
yeah,
not so much?
I mean, how many onions can two people eat? If it were onion rings, that would be an entirely different story.
Yeah.
Is it Red Robin that has like the Tower of Onion Rings?
Yes.
Yeah, so Red Robin, if you want to give us bottomless onion rings, let's talk. I mean, perfect bar food.
We should order up some onion rings. That sounds really good right now.
That does.
You want to do that, and I'll read another review?
You have already opened a tab, right? So I'll just throw them on there.
Here we go again. All right, here's another review. This is from Blue Devil Try. Blue Devil Tri. And Blue Devil Try says, amazing. Loved it. Much better than Cats. I'm going to listen to it again and again. I could not agree more, Mr. Blue Devil Try. It is much better than Cats.
Yeah, definitely much better than them. I almost think that might be an SNL reference if I didn't know any better.
Okay, it could be. But did you ever see the play Cats?
I have seen Cats, yes.
Would you rather see that than listen to our podcast?
The actual Broadway musical, I think that's a toss-up. In terms of the movie, I mean, look.
I never saw the movie.
I didn't either because I'm smart. I knew enough to avoid it. I want to see it. It's gotten such notoriety, but on Rotten Tomatoes.
Patty. Do you know who Patti LuPone is?
I know who Patty Poutine is.
Okay, well, that's not anywhere near related. Patti LuPone is like the goddess of Broadway. been in everything. And anyway, she was in Cats. She was in. I don't. Well, I'm gonna stop at that because I'll outrun my headlights on my Patti LuPone knowledge. Anyway, I
Wait,
happened to
so
see an
you're a
interview,
closet Swiftie, and you're also
and
closet LaPony? Like, what is
I
her
know
fan base?
My Little LaPony.
Do you have the brush and everything?
No. Anyway, back to my joke.
Oh.
Because she was asked what's the most overrated Broadway show, and she was like, Cats. And I'm
Wow.
like, yep. It ran for like 1,000 years.
Yeah,
like
toured.
Yeah, they started like with just rocks and like real cat skins as their costumes, and then it just progressed up until just a few years ago.
Rocks and real, like a like a
they
jaguar
started
pelt.
1,000 years ago.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
was she in that first run 1,000 years ago?
Yeah, I think she was the one that sings "Memory." Whichever cat.
So
that was.
originally, I guess it was called Saber-Tooth Cats, and then they
I
shortened
think
it later.
It could be. Yeah, to just cats.
It was,
well, when Sabertooth went extinct, it didn't make a lot of sense to people.
Yeah,
then.
it was her, Siegfried, and Roy.
Hello.
Yeah. I mean, whatever. Like, remember how they had cats? They had big cats.
Oh, dude, I sat on stage side with the Big Cat Show. Like my elbow was resting on the stage, literally like 3 feet from a giant tiger, and I was like, I could die, but here I am. Surely that big cat is well trained. But
well trained.
yeah.
I mean, you're here to tell the tale, so
It was. I tell you, they're pretty spectacular close up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be too close, but
right.
Right. But I don't think that's the cat that Blue Devil Try is talking about.
No, I don't.
I think I would say like a big cat is pretty impressive. Our podcast, I think people like it as well, but not a big cat impressive.
So what's your decision? Listen to us or go see Cats?
I would listen to us.
Okay, what if it's Siegfried and Roy versus listening to us?
Now that's a little harder. That's a little harder because I think both have passed away. But if they were still alive, yeah, I'd go see them.
Yeah, like I'm talking all time here. I'm not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna see magic with wild animals versus two morons talking about Mad Magazine. I mean, what would you do, right?
Is there a flaming hoop?
On the podcast?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like right now I'm talking through a flaming hoop.
I tell you what, why don't we move on from this topic?
Okay.
Let's close out this section. Why don't we send out a few shout outs, a couple thank yous for some recent things?
Okay.
You got one?
I do. It is that time of year to be thankful, so I do have some thank yous here. So first off, a big thank you to all of the design faculty in the community college system across the state of North Carolina, because they invited me to their Graphic Design Association of North Carolina Fall Summit, where I was able to deliver a keynote to them. They're very nice. They actually invited both Todd and me, but Todd decided to he'd rather go in a sweat lodge and trip balls on peyote up in the mountains, so he couldn't make it. So sorry about that, design faculty. You were stuck with me.
I missed it.
Yeah.
I hate I missed it.
Well, I'm glad, you've finally returned to the real world after your vision quest hiking with the natives.
And what'd you talk about, Elliot?
Artificial intelligence, podcasting, creativity, and some of the lessons from pop culture that are still important today. So,
well, they certainly asked the right gentleman to do it.
Yeah, and he wasn't available, so they got me.
I know, that was second choice.
Yeah, well, number 2 on the list, but number 1 in your hearts. So lots of robust dialogue, And you know what? The best part is they even laughed at some of the jokes.
Good.
So a special shout out, special thank you, tip of the cap to Mike Lawson of GTCC of Guilford Tech for the invitation, and Eric Perel of Alamance Community College, ACC, for hosting. And we're teasing you with something, but we'll post that talk for you very soon and share some highlights with you.
All right. Yeah, good.
How about you?
All right.
What are you thankful for? Aside from the privilege of buying me drinks now that we're getting into the holidays.
I didn't say that.
Oh, and the onion rings.
I didn't even hear that. But okay. I'm thankful. A big old thank you goes out to Professor Kermit Bailey and the graduating seniors in his professional practices class at the pretty well-known NC State College of Design. We had great conversation, great questions, really smart students, y'all. And we talked about the challenges that are facing the design profession, talked about living a creative lifestyle, and of course, all the lessons that we can learn and continue to learn from pop culture and iconic design. It was a lot of fun. Unfortunately, the event wasn't recorded, so we can't post anything, but just rest assured it was brilliant, and you are definitely missing out on it.
All right, Todd. So to alleviate a little bit of the FOMO, because I wasn't there either, I want to know, give me one tip for living a more creative life.
Let me think of a really good one, because there's so many.
I mean, aside from a mountain retreat sweat lodge.
Yeah, do something every day out of your comfort zone.
Like,
how about that?
What? Like, give me an example of that.
Well, I mean, like, sing in public. Like, you could walk down the street and just start singing. Why don't you do that?
How about I, say anything style? Just drive over to your house one night
and
really late
with
and
the
just
boombox.
Yeah, and just start karaokeing. Like just singing right along to that. Hey, that's Peter Gabriel, so it's actually appropriate.
I've got a water hose. I can cure you of that real fast.
It is getting into the winter months.
Yeah, but little things make something every day, even if it's just
trouble.
Well, I would rather you make something productive, but you do this. Don't pretend like you don't. You make stuff every day.
I make stuff all the time.
That is not part of your job, and you get a lot of creative fulfillment from that, and it enriches your job as well.
You are probably going to get more of my gnomes for Christmas this year.
Oh, okay, good. Whew. All right, let me check that off my list then. Thanks. All right. Do we have any more thank yous?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to circle back around to one of the shout-outs from earlier in the episode. As I mentioned, we had a great time. Todd and I actually both did show up for this one. We had a great time presenting to the junior and senior design class at Susquehanna University in beautiful Sylvan, autumnally colored Selland Grove, PA. And these students are working on their music packaging projects, and so we're able to drop some knowledge bombs based on our love of album art and packaging and pop culture and design and blah, 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 blah.
And just our charming personalities, I think, is really what captivated them.
I almost forgot about that part.
They probably did, too.
And so, mad props to our buddy Jimmy for arranging this, pulling all this together. We are very, very appreciative.
Yes, yeah.
And so remember, if you want to have the clown car empty out on your campus or somewhere nearby, our little traveling circus of pop culture is available to speak on a variety of topics. We can't guarantee any flaming hoops or onion rings for that matter. We might have to add that to our rider, I think. But if you're interested, just send us an email to hello@twodesignerswalkintoabar.com.
Yeah, good deal. So that kind of seems like a good place to stop the episode for now, if you like.
Okay, well, before we do that, since we are heading into the holidays,
okay,
is there one gift recommendation, talking about doing something different, talking about inspiration? I am going to credit you, actually, for something that you gave to me that I have been returning to ever since you gave it to me.
Oh, okay. Do tell.
The Rick Rubin book, A Creative Act.
Oh, do you love it?
Yeah.
Oh, good, good, good. I'm so glad. Yeah, when I read that, you know, it was a tad bit woo woo, but you know, he does a great job of kind of connecting creative for commerce and really just sort of being aware of what's happening around you and being open to new things. So I'm glad you liked it. I'm really glad you liked that. I thought you would.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate that. So so you recommended that to me, and I'm recommending it to our listeners because I think it's super good. So what's in your back pocket? What's something that, aside from the Taylor Swift documentary on Netflix, what would you recommend?
All right, I'm going to mention another documentary that you recommended to me, and it's the one, oh my God, the name just slipped out of my head, about New York City in 1977.
Oh, yeah. It's called NY 77.
Yeah, NY 77. We were working on some research for some episodes that were around that time, Studio 54, Andy Warhol, things like that. And this was not only fantastic background for that, but it was also, I mean, it was crazy compelling to watch just in 1 year, basically in a summer, how much shit went down in one city.
The subtitle is called The Coolest Year in Hell.
Yeah. That's what I was trying to remember.
Just to sort of paint a picture. And then it was, during the July 13th and 14th blackout where the whole city lost power and chaos ensued, right?
Yeah. Son of Sam, remember that?
Yeah, right.
That was at that time. And Studio 54 opened up around that time. So
punk rock was starting, hip hop was starting. Yeah.
Crazy influential time.
Yeah, and some of the folks who we've talked about in other episodes, like your friend Hilly Crystal, who we talked about, you know, he's in there. And really, again, I know you love sort of these little subplots or these little communities, these little scenes. And it does a really great job of documenting the creative scene in New York in the mid-'70s when literally whatever parts of the city weren't blacked out because of the power loss, it was on fire because the landlords were burning the buildings down for the insurance money. So, yeah, definitely a crazy time.
And yet, good creative rose from that. Good artistic expression rose from that.
Yeah, rose from the ashes.
Or rosé. If you want to be fancy, you could say rosé.
Is that what you're going to order for us at the bar?
How did I not see this one coming? Why don't we step up the fancy a little bit?
Okay.
And have a
Pinkies
nice
extended.
Rosé. Hello, pinkies extended.
To go with our onion rings. Okay, got it.
Yes. All right. This has been fun. I hope listeners, you enjoyed. Keep those comments coming. I guarantee not all of our reviews are spectacular, but most of them are. But please let us know if we have a topic that you would like to hear more about. And now I'm going to go buy some drinks for Elliot and me.
And the onion rings, please.
All right, onion rings too.
And a side of ranch.
Bye.